When 11-year-old Marcus Chin crawled through a muddy drainage pipe at midnight to break into the Tesla Gigafactory, he thought the worst thing that could happen was getting arrested. He never imagined that waiting for him in Elon Musk's private laboratory was a life-changing secret that would reunite his family and inspire millions of young inventors around the world. This is the true story of one boy's impossible dream, one night of incredible courage, and the reaction that proved sometimes the biggest risks lead to the most beautiful rewards. Marcus Chin pressed his face against the cold window of his tiny bedroom in East Austin, Texas. Outside, the October rain drummed against the glass like tiny fingers tapping a secret code. But Marcus wasn't watching the rain. His eyes were fixed on the distant glow of the Tesla Gigafactory, barely visible through the darkness 20 miles away. The factory looked like a spaceship that had landed in the Texas hills. Marcus had seen it 100 times from the school bus, but tonight it seemed to call to him in a special way. One day, Marcus whispered to the empty room, "I'm going to work there." Marcus was 11 years old, but his brain worked differently than other kids his age. While his classmates played video games, Marcus built robots from broken cell phones he found in dumpsters. While they watched cartoons, Marcus studied rocket designs on YouTube. His bedroom walls were covered with drawings he had made. Rockets, with 3 stages, just like the ones SpaceX used to reach space. Cars that could fly using special propellers. Robots that could help old people walk upstairs. Every drawing was neat and careful, with notes written in Marcus's small, precise handwriting. The centerpiece of Marcus's room was his desk. It used to be his mom's sewing table, but now it was covered with electronics. Circuit boards from old radios, motors from broken toys, wires in every color of the rainbow. To most people, it looked like junk. To Marcus, it was treasure. On the desk sat his greatest creation, a small robot he had built over 6 months. The robot was only 8 inches tall, made from the insides of 3 old smartphones and parts from a remote control car. Marcus had painted it silver and drawn a smiley face on its head. "Hello, buddy," Marcus said to the robot. That was its name, Buddy. Marcus pressed a button on a remote control he had made from calculator parts. Buddy's eyes lit up blue. The robot turned its head toward Marcus and took 3 careful steps forward. "Hello, Marcus," Buddy said in a tiny computer voice. "How are you today?" Marcus had programmed Buddy to recognize his voice and respond to simple questions. It had taken him weeks to figure out how to make the voice chip work, but he never gave up. The bedroom door opened softly. Lin Chun, Marcus's mom, peeked inside. She looked tired, like she always did after working the dinner shift at Tony's Diner downtown. "You should be sleeping, baby," she said gently. Lin spoke with a slight accent that reminded Marcus of music. "I was just checking on Buddy," Marcus said. "Tomorrow is Saturday. Can I work on my solar panel project?" Lin smiled and sat on the edge of Marcus's narrow bed. "Of course, but remember what I told you about the electrical outlets. Always ask me before you plug anything in." Marcus nodded. Last month, he had accidentally blown a fuse while testing a motor. They couldn't afford to call an electrician, so Lin had to figure out how to fix it herself using YouTube videos. Money was always tight in the Chin household. Lin worked 3 jobs: the diner during dinner hours, cleaning offices at night, and stocking shelves at the grocery store on weekends. She did it all to keep their small apartment and put food on the table that Marcus's father had left when Marcus was 7. Marcus barely remembered him, except for his laugh and the way he used to help Marcus build block towers. After he left, it was just Marcus and his mom against the world. "Mom," Marcus said quietly, "Mrs. Rodriguez says I'm smart enough for the gifted program at school." Lin's eyes lit up. "That's wonderful. What would that mean?" "Special science classes. Maybe even a trip to the Science Museum in Houston." Marcus paused. "But it costs money for the field trips." Lin's smile faded slightly. She worked so hard, but there never seemed to be enough money for extras like field trips or science camps. "We'll figure it out," she said, like she always did. "Your education is the most important thing." Marcus knew his mom had once dreamed of being an engineer. She had shown him her old college notebooks, filled with equations and diagrams that looked like art to Marcus. But when his father left, she had to drop out of school to work full-time. "I'm going to be a famous inventor someday," Marcus told his mom. "And I'm going to buy you a big house with a real laboratory in the basement." Lynn laughed and ruffled Marcus's dark hair. I believe you will. You have the most creative mind I've ever seen. After his mom left for her night job at the office building, Marcus pulled out his most treasured possession, a worn notebook with a blue cover. Inside were all of his invention ideas, drawn in careful detail. Page 1 showed plans for a water filter made from coffee filters, cotton, and pieces of charcoal. Marcus had built a small version that actually worked, cleaning muddy water from the creek behind their apartment complex. Page 5 had designs for a tiny rocket powered by baking soda and vinegar. Marcus had tested it in the parking lot, and it had flown 15 feet into the air before coming down with a small parachute made from a plastic bag. But Marcus's favorite page was number 12. It showed a robot helper that could carry groceries, open doors for people in wheelchairs, and even call for help if someone fell down. Marcus had been working on this design for months, trying to figure out how to make it move smoothly and recognize different objects. Marcus opened his laptop, a refurbished computer his mom had bought for $50 at a garage sale. The screen had a crack down one side, but it worked well enough for Marcus to watch videos and research his projects. He clicked on his bookmark folder labeled Heroes. Inside were dozens of videos of Elon Musk talking about Tesla cars, SpaceX rockets, and Neuralink brain computers. Marcus had watched every interview, every presentation, every speech he could find in one video. Elon talked about how he had built his first computer game when he was 12 and sold it for $500. In another, he explained how Tesla was trying to make cars that didn't hurt the environment. But Marcus's favorite video was the one where Elon said that anyone could be an inventor if they weren't afraid to try new things and fail sometimes. Failure is just learning in disguise, Elon had said. Marcus had written those words on the first page of his notebook. Marcus pulled up the Tesla website and clicked on the section about the Gigafactory. The pictures showed thousands of robots working together to build car batteries. Engineers in white coats monitored giant machines that looked like something from the future. As Marcus scrolled through the images, he felt a familiar ache in his chest. He wanted so badly to be part of that world, to work alongside brilliant people who were changing how cars were made, to contribute his own ideas to making the world better. But how could a kid from East Austin, whose mom worked 3 jobs just to pay rent, ever get close to someone as important as Elon Musk? Marcus closed the laptop and looked at Buddy, still sitting patiently on his desk. What do you think, Buddy? Will I ever get to meet Elon Musk? The robot's blue eyes blinked twice, which Marcus had programmed to mean yes. I hope you're right, Marcus whispered. Outside his window, the Gigafactory continued to glow in the distance, like a star that had fallen to Earth. Marcus didn't know it yet, but in just 3 days, that distant light would become the most important place in his life. He fell asleep with his notebook clutched to his chest, dreaming of rockets and robots and a future where anything was possible. 3 days later, Marcus sat in the back row of his 5th grade classroom, but his mind was a million miles away. On the whiteboard, Mrs. Rodriguez was explaining fractions, but all Marcus could think about was the news he had seen that morning. Elon Musk was coming to the Austin Gigafactory. Tonight, Marcus had found the information on a Tesla employee's Twitter account. The post said Elon would be working late in his private research lab, testing new battery technology. The employee had quickly deleted the post, but Marcus had already taken a screenshot. Marcus, Mrs. Rodriguez's voice cut through his daydreaming. Can you tell us what 3/4 plus 1/2 equals? Marcus blinked and looked up. 5/4, which is the same as 1 1/4. Very good, but please pay attention. Marcus nodded, but his mind immediately drifted back to his plan. All morning, he had been sketching the layout of the Gigafactory in the margins of his math worksheet. He had found building blueprints online and studied every entrance, every hallway, every security camera at lunch. Marcus sat with his best friend Zoe Martinez. She was the only person at school who understood his inventions. Her dad was a mechanic, so she knew about tools and building things. You look weird today, Zoe said, unwrapping her peanut butter sandwich. Like you're planning something. Marcus almost told her everything. Zoe was smart and brave. She would probably want to help. But this was too dangerous to involve his only friend. Just thinking about my science fair project, Marcus lied. The one with the solar-powered water purifier. Yeah, that one. Zoe studied Marcus's face. "You're being mysterious. I can tell because you keep touching your nose when you talk. You always do that when you're not telling the truth." Marcus quickly put his hand down. He hadn't realized he did that. "I'm fine, Zoe. Really." But Zoe wasn't convinced. She watched Marcus for the rest of lunch, noticing how he kept checking his phone and scribbling notes on napkins. After school, Marcus rode his bike to the public library. He told his mom he was doing research for homework, which was sort of true. He just didn't mention what kind of research. On the library computer, Marcus pulled up satellite images of the Gigafactory from Google Maps. He zoomed in until he could see individual cars in the parking lot. The building was enormous, bigger than 10 football fields put together. Marcus studied the fence that surrounded the property. It was 12 feet tall with razor wire on top. Security cameras were mounted every 50 feet. Guards patrolled in golf carts, following predictable routes that Marcus timed by watching YouTube videos people had posted from outside the fence. But then Marcus noticed something interesting. On the east side of the building, there was a storm drainage pipe that ran under the fence. The pipe was maybe 3 feet wide, too small for an adult, but just big enough for a skinny 11-year-old. Marcus printed out the satellite images and tucked them into his backpack. He also printed a floor plan he found on a construction website. The plans were 2 years old, but they showed the basic layout of the building. On his bike ride home, Marcus made a detour past the Gigafactory. He had ridden by it dozens of times, but today he looked at it with different eyes. Today he was studying it like a puzzle he needed to solve. The fence looked even taller up close. The cameras moved slowly back and forth, like robot heads scanning for trouble. But Marcus found the drainage pipe exactly where the satellite image showed it would be. There was a small creek that ran along the east side of the property, and the pipe carried the water under the fence. Marcus parked his bike behind some bushes and crawled closer to the pipe. It was dark inside and smelled like wet concrete. He could see daylight on the other side. That minute went all the way through. A security guard drove by in his golf cart, and Marcus quickly hid behind a tree. His heart pounded so hard he was sure the guard could hear it. But the guard didn't stop. He just kept driving his slow circle around the massive building. At home, Marcus spread the printed maps on his bedroom floor. Using colored pencils, he traced possible routes from the drainage pipe to the main building. There were several entrances, but most would be locked and alarmed after business hours. Then Marcus remembered something from a news article he had read. The Gigafactory ran 24 hours a day. Workers came and went at all times. Some doors would need to stay unlocked for the night shift employees. Marcus's phone buzzed with a text from his mom. "Working late tonight. Dinner in fridge. Love. You." Perfect. His mom wouldn't be home until after midnight. That gave him plenty of time. Marcus opened his closet and pulled out his darkest clothes, black jeans and a navy blue hoodie. He packed a small backpack with supplies, his robot buddy, his notebook with all his inventions, a flashlight, a granola bar, and a bottle of water. Most importantly, he packed the letter he had written to Elon Musk 3 months ago, but never sent. In the letter, Marcus had described all his inventions and explained his dream of working for Tesla someday. He had rewritten it 5 times until every word was perfect. As the sun set over Austin, Marcus sat on his bed and read the letter. One more time. "Dear Mr. Musk, my name is Marcus Chen. I am 11 years old and I live in Austin, Texas. I have watched every video of you on YouTube. You inspire me to build things that can help people. I build a robot from old phone parts that can walk and talk. I made a water filter that cleans dirty water using only things from the kitchen. I designed a small rocket that flew 15 feet high. My mom works 3 jobs because my dad left. We don't have money for fancy science camps or expensive tools. But I don't let that stop me from inventing things that I want to work for Tesla when I grow up. I want to help build cars that don't hurt the earth. I want to help send people to Mars. Maybe you think I'm too young or not smart enough. But I believe that good ideas can come from anyone, even kids like me. Thank you for showing me that anyone can change the world if they work hard enough. Your biggest fan, Marcus Chen." Marcus folded the letter carefully and put it in his backpack. Tonight, he would hand it to Elon Musk in person at 10:30 p.m. Marcus heard his mom's car leave for her night shift at the office building. He waited another 30 minutes to make sure she was really gone. Then he put on his dark clothes, grabbed his backpack, and quietly opened his bedroom window. The October air was cold and crisp. In the distance, the Gigafactory glowed like a technological beacon against the dark Texas sky. Marcus climbed out of his window and dropped softly onto the grass below. His bike was waiting for him. Hidden behind the apartment building as he pedaled through the empty streets toward his destiny, Marcus whispered to himself, "Tonight, everything changes." He had no idea how right he was. The drainage pipe was even smaller than Marcus had expected. Cold, muddy water soaked through his jeans as he crawled on his hands and knees through the narrow concrete tunnel. His backpack scraped against the top of the pipe, making small, echoing sounds that seemed loud as thunder in the darkness. Marcus used his phone's flashlight to see ahead, but he kept it pointed down so the light wouldn't be visible from outside. The tunnel stretched for what felt like forever, though it was probably only 50 feet. His heart hammered against his ribs as he thought about what he was doing. This was really happening. He was actually breaking into the Tesla Gigafactory. Finally, Marcus saw a dim circle of light ahead, the other end of the pipe. He crawled faster, eager to get out of the cramped, wet space. When he emerged, he found himself in a small concrete channel that carried storm water away from the factory grounds. Marcus climbed out of the channel and looked around. He was inside the fence now, standing on the most famous piece of industrial property in Texas. The massive Gigafactory loomed above him like a technological mountain, its windows glowing with the light of thousands of workers inside. The building was so big that Marcus felt like an ant standing next to a skyscraper. He had seen pictures and videos, but being here in person was overwhelming. This was where the future was being built, one electric car battery at a time. Marcus checked his phone. 11:15 p.m. According to his research, the security guards changed shifts at midnight. That gave him 45 minutes to get inside the building and find Elon Musk's private lab. Staying low and moving between shadows, Marcus made his way toward the main building. Security cameras swept back and forth in predictable patterns, just like he had observed from outside the fence. Marcus counted the timing. Each camera took 12 seconds to complete its scan. That gave him small windows of opportunity to run from one hiding spot to the next. A golf cart drove past about 30 feet away, its headlights cutting through the darkness. Marcus pressed himself flat against a concrete barrier, holding his breath as the security guard drove by. The guard was listening to a football game on his radio and didn't notice the small figure hiding in the shadows. After the cart disappeared around a corner, Marcus ran to the building. Up close, the walls were even more impressive. They were made of some kind of special material that seemed to shimmer in the moonlight. This wasn't just a factory. It was like a spaceship that had landed on Earth. Marcus found the side entrance he had identified in his research. It was marked "Authorized Personnel Only" in red letters. A keypad next to the door blinked with a small red light. This was the moment of truth. Either the door would be unlocked for night shift workers, or Marcus's adventure would end right here. Marcus tried the handle. It turned. The door opened silently, and Marcus slipped inside the most advanced manufacturing facility in the world. The first thing that hit him was the sound. Even at night, the Gigafactory hummed with activity. Machines whirred and beeped. Conveyor belts moved parts from one station to another. Robot arms danced in perfect coordination, assembling battery packs with inhuman precision. The second thing Marcus noticed was the scale. The inside of the building was like a city. Hallways stretched in every direction, marked with signs pointing to different departments: battery assembly, quality control, research and development, advanced robotics. Marcus pulled out his printed floor plan and oriented himself. According to the blueprint, Elon Musk's private research lab was on the 7th floor of the North Tower. Marcus needed to find an elevator. He walked through hallways lined with offices and smaller labs. Through windows, he could see Tesla vehicles in various stages of assembly. Some cars had no doors yet. Others were missing their wheels. It was like watching the birth of the future, one piece at a time. The workers Marcus passed were focused on their tasks and didn't pay attention to a small figure in dark clothes. In their safety glasses and uniforms, they looked like astronauts working on a space station. Marcus found the elevator bank near the center of the building. His hands trembled as he pressed the up button. The elevator arrived with a soft ding that made Marcus jump. Inside the elevator, Marcus stared at the floor buttons. 7 floors up, Elon Musk was probably working on inventions that would change the world. In just a few minutes, Marcus would be in the same room as his hero, the elevator rose smoothly, passing floors marked manufacturing, engineering, testing, and administration. Each floor probably contained more advanced technology than most entire companies. Finally, the elevator stopped at the 7th floor. The doors opened to reveal a hallway that looked different from the rest of the building. This area was quieter, more exclusive. Signs on the walls read, "Restricted access" and "Authorized research personnel only." Marcus walked down the hallway, checking door numbers against his mental map. Most of the labs were dark, their occupants long gone for the day. But at the end of the hall, light spilled from under one door. The nameplate next to the door read, "E. Musk, Private Research Laboratory." Marcus stood outside the door for a full minute, gathering his courage. Behind this door was the person he admired most in the world. The man who had built companies that made electric cars, space rockets, and brain-computer interfaces. The person who proved that crazy dreams could become reality. Marcus noticed that the lab door had a keypad lock, just like the entrance downstairs. But this time, he would need the actual code to get inside. Marcus thought about everything he knew about Elon Musk. In interviews, Elon had mentioned his favorite book, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. In that book, the answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything was 42. Marcus tried typing 42. Nothing happened. He tried 4242. Still nothing. Then he remembered another detail from an interview. Elon had said that 420 was a significant number in his life, though he had laughed when he said it. Marcus tried 420420. The keypad beeped softly, and the lock clicked open. Marcus couldn't believe it. He was actually about to enter Elon Musk's private laboratory. The door opened to reveal a room that looked like something from a science fiction movie. Computer screens covered every wall, displaying rocket designs, car blueprints, and brain scan images. A robotic arm in the corner held circuit boards up to the light, examining them with electronic eyes. But the most amazing thing in the room was in the center, a prototype device that looked like a baseball cap covered in tiny wires. Marcus recognized it from articles he had read about Neuralink, Elon's brain-computer interface company. Marcus walked into the lab like he was entering a temple. Every surface was covered with inventions and experiments that represented years of brilliant work. He set his backpack on a lab table and carefully pulled out his robot, Buddy. Next to Elon's advanced prototypes, Marcus's creation looked simple and homemade. But Marcus was still proud of what he had built with his own hands. Marcus also took out his notebook and the letter he had written. He found a clear spot on the lab table and arranged his inventions like he was setting up for the most important presentation of his life. Then Marcus sat down to wait. According to the news report, Elon would be working late tonight. All Marcus had to do was wait for his hero to arrive. As he sat in the quiet lab, surrounded by the most advanced technology on Earth, Marcus felt a mix of excitement and terror. He had actually done it. He had broken into the Tesla Gigafactory and made it all the way to Elon Musk's private laboratory. But now came the scariest part of all. What would happen when Elon Musk walked through that door? Marcus checked the time on his phone, 11:47 p.m. Any minute now, his life would change forever. Marcus heard footsteps in the hallway outside the lab. His whole body froze like a statue as the sound got closer and closer. The footsteps were different from the security guard's heavy boots. These were lighter, quicker, like someone who belonged here. Marcus looked around the lab frantically. Where could he hide? Behind the computers? Under the desk? But his backpack and robot were still sitting on the lab table in plain sight. If he tried to grab them now, he would definitely be seen. The footsteps stopped right outside the door. Marcus dove behind a large desk covered with circuit boards and computer parts. His heart beat so fast he thought it might explode. He pressed himself as small as possible against the floor and tried not to breathe. The door handle turned with a soft click. Interesting, a familiar voice said from the doorway. I don't remember leaving that robot on my lab table. Marcus knew that voice. He had heard it in hundreds of YouTube videos, interviews, and presentations. It was Elon Musk. Marcus peeked around the edge of the desk and saw a tall man in a black t-shirt and jeans walking into the lab. Even though Marcus had seen thousands of pictures, meeting his hero in person felt surreal. Elon looked exactly like he did on TV, but somehow more real and human. Elon walked straight to the lab table where Marcus had left Buddy. He picked up the small robot and examined it carefully, turning it over in his hands like a detective studying evidence. Very clever wiring, Elon said to himself. Whoever built this knows what they're doing. Marcus watched from his hiding spot as Elon studied his invention. Part of him felt proud that Elon Musk was impressed with his work, but mostly he felt terrified about what would happen when Elon found him. Elon set the robot down and looked around the lab. "Hello," he called out. "I know someone is here." The door was unlocked, and this robot didn't walk in by itself. Marcus knew he was caught. There was no point hiding anymore. His legs felt like rubber bands as he slowly stood up from behind the desk. "Please don't call security," Marcus said in a voice so quiet it was almost a whisper. Elon turned around and saw a small boy with muddy clothes and scared eyes standing in the corner of his lab. For a moment, both of them just stared at each other. "Well, hello there," Elon said. His voice wasn't angry like Marcus had expected. Instead, he sounded curious and maybe a little amused. "How exactly did you get into my private laboratory?" "I crawled through the drainage pipe under the fence," Marcus admitted. "Then I walked through the building and used the elevator." "I'm really sorry. I know I'm not supposed to be here." "That's quite an adventure," Elon said, sitting down on a chair near the lab table. "And you built this robot?" "Yes, sir. His name is Buddy. I made him from old cell phone parts one found in dumpsters." Elon picked up the robot again and looked at it more closely. "Show me how it works." Marcus pulled his homemade remote control from his pocket. His hands shook as he pressed a button. Buddy's blue LED eyes lit up, and the robot took 3 careful steps across the table. "Hello, Mr. Musk," Buddy said in his tiny computer voice. "It is nice to meet you." Elon's eyebrows went up in surprise. "You programmed voice recognition?" "Sort of," Marcus said, feeling a little braver. "I recorded different phrases and taught Buddy to play the right one when he hears certain words. It's not real artificial intelligence, but it works pretty well." "That's actually quite sophisticated for someone your age," Elon said. "What's your name, young inventor?" "Marcus Chun. I'm 11 years old. I live in East Austin with my mom." "Tell me more about your inventions, Marcus." For the next 20 minutes, Marcus forgot all about being scared. He showed Elon every page in his notebook, explaining each invention in detail. The water filter made from kitchen supplies, the small rocket powered by baking soda and vinegar, even his plans for a robot that could help elderly people with daily tasks. Elon listened to every word like Marcus was a real scientist presenting important research. He asked smart questions that made Marcus think even harder about his designs. "These are remarkable ideas," Elon said, flipping through Marcus's notebook. "Your approach to the motor control problem in this robot design is actually more elegant than some solutions my own engineers have proposed." Marcus felt like he might faint from happiness. Elon Musk thought his inventions were good. "But Marcus," Elon continued, his voice becoming more serious, "breaking into my laboratory was extremely dangerous. You could have been hurt. You could have been arrested. Why did you take such a big risk?" Tears started forming in Marcus's eyes. "Because I wanted to meet you so badly, and I knew this was probably my only chance." "Why did you want to meet me?" Marcus wiped his eyes with his sleeve. "Because you show kids like me that we can build amazing things, even if we don't have a lot of money or fancy equipment. You prove that anyone can change the world if they work hard enough." "Tell me about your situation at home," Elon said gently. Marcus told Elon everything. About his mom working 3 jobs to pay rent for their tiny apartment. About finding electronics in dumpsters because they couldn't afford new parts. About how his mom had to drop out of engineering school when his dad left. "She was going to be an engineer," Marcus said sadly. "She's really smart, but she had to give up her dreams to take care of me." Something changed in Elon's expression as Marcus talked about his mom. His eyes became softer and more thoughtful. "What's your mother's name?" Elon asked. "Lin Chun." "What?" "Lin Chun," Elon repeated slowly. "Where is she from originally?" "China. She came to America when she was 18 to study at UT Austin, but she had to quit school when I was little." Elon stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the lights of Austin in the distance. For a long moment, he didn't say anything. "Marcus," Elon said finally, "what's your mother's full name?" "Lin Mei Chun. But I don't understand why you're asking about my mom." Elon turned around, and Marcus was shocked to see tears in his eyes. Marcus, I need to tell you something that's going to sound impossible. What do you mean? Elon sat back down and looked directly at Marcus. 20 years ago, when I was a graduate student at Stanford University, I lived in a small apartment near campus. My next-door neighbor was a brilliant engineering student from China. Marcus felt his stomach drop. My mom, her name was Lin Mei Chun. She was the smartest person in our advanced physics class. She helped me understand quantum mechanics when I was struggling with the concepts. Marcus's mouth fell open. He couldn't speak. We became close friends, Elon continued. We spent hours talking about technology, space exploration, and how to build a better future. She had ideas that were years ahead of their time. But why? Didn't she ever tell me she knew you? Because life got complicated. I dropped out of Stanford to start my first company. Your mother stayed to finish her degree. We lost touch when she moved to Texas. Elon picked up his phone and started typing rapidly. I've been trying to find her for years, Marcus. Every time I came to Austin, I wondered if she was still here. Marcus felt like the whole world was spinning. All these years, he had dreamed of meeting Elon Musk. All these years, his mom had never mentioned that she already knew his hero. Is that why I'm good at building things? Marcus asked. Because my mom taught me? Your mother has one of the most brilliant engineering minds I've ever encountered, Elon said. And yes, you definitely inherited her gift for understanding how things work. Elon's phone buzzed with a notification. He looked at the screen and smiled. Marcus, I just sent a message to my assistant. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to offer your mother a job as a senior engineer at Tesla. And I'm going to offer you a full scholarship to the best science programs in the country. Marcus felt like he was dreaming. This couldn't be real. You would do that for us. Marcus, your mother believed in me when I was just a kid with crazy ideas about electric cars and rockets to Mars. She encouraged me to follow my dreams even when everyone else said I was wasting my time. Suddenly, alarms started blaring throughout the building. Red lights flashed in the hallway outside the lab. Security breach in Laboratory 7. A voice announced over the loudspeaker. All security personnel respond immediately. Marcus's face went white with fear. They found us. But Elon just smiled calmly. Don't worry, Marcus. You're with me now. But we need to get you home safely before your mother discovers you're missing. Heavy footsteps pounded up the stairs toward the lab. In seconds, security guards would burst through the door. Marcus looked at Elon with panic in his eyes. What are we going to do? Stay calm, Elon said quietly, standing up from his chair. I have an idea, but you need to trust me completely. The footsteps in the hallway were getting louder. Marcus could hear security guards talking on their radios, coordinating their search of the building. Marcus, I want you to hide under that desk again, Elon said, pointing to where Marcus had been before. When the guards come in, let me handle everything. Don't come out no matter what you hear, okay? But what if they find me? They won't. Trust me. Marcus grabbed his backpack and dove under the desk just as the lab door burst open. 3 security guards rushed in with bright flashlights and crackling radios. Mr. Musk, the lead guard said, surprised to find his boss in the lab. We detected an unauthorized entry in this section. Have you seen anything unusual? From his hiding spot, Marcus held his breath and waited to see what Elon would do. Yes, actually, Elon said calmly. I encountered an intruder about 10 minutes ago. Young boy, maybe 11 years old, wearing dark clothes. Marcus's heart sank. Was Elon going to turn him in after all? Where is he now, sir? Another guard asked. He escaped through the window, Elon said, walking over to open the lab window. Climbed out onto the fire escape when he saw me coming. Probably long gone by now. The guards looked confused. They examined the open window and checked the fire escape with their flashlights. Should we search the grounds, Mr. Musk? No need, Elon replied smoothly. I got a good look at him. Just a curious kid who got in over his head. I doubt he'll try this again. But you might want to check the perimeter fence for any holes or weak spots. Yes, sir. We'll do a full inspection in the morning. After the guards left, Marcus crawled out from under the desk. His legs were shaking so badly he could barely stand. Why did you lie to protect me? Marcus asked. Because, Elon said with a small smile, brilliant young inventors need to stick together. But now we need to get you home safely. Elon walked to a different door in the lab that Marcus hadn't noticed before. Private elevator, he explained. Goes directly to my personal garage. We can avoid all the security cameras that way. As they rode down in the small elevator, Elon explained his plan. I'm going to drive you home personally, but first I need to ask you something important. Are you absolutely sure your mother never mentioned knowing me? I'm positive, Marcus said. She talks about her college days sometimes, but she never said your name. Why would she keep it a secret? Maybe because she thought I had forgotten about her. Or maybe because talking about those days reminds her of dreams she had to give up. The elevator opened into a private garage beneath the Gigafactory. 3 cars were parked there, a red Tesla Roadster, a white Model S, and a black Model X. Which one would you like to ride in? Elon asked that Marcus's eyes went wide. I get to choose. Of course. It's not every day I give a ride to someone who broke into my lab. The Roadster, Marcus said without hesitation. I've dreamed about riding in one since I was 8. As they drove through the quiet streets of Austin, Marcus stared out the window at his city from inside his dream car. The Roadster was silent except for the soft hum of the electric motor. Marcus, Elon said as they drove, I want you to understand something. What I'm about to do for you and your mother, the job offer, the scholarship, it's not charity. What do you mean? I mean your mother earned this 20 years ago. She helped me believe in myself when I was struggling. And you earned it tonight by showing me inventions that genuinely impressed me. But we're not rich or important. The best ideas often come from people who have to be creative with limited resources, Elon said. You built a walking, talking robot from phone parts you found in dumpsters. Some of my engineers can't do that with a $1 million budget. They pulled into the parking lot of Marcus's apartment complex. The small building looked even more humble next to the gleaming Tesla. Is your mom home? Elon asked, checking the time on the dashboard. It was 12:45 a.m. She's working the night shift. She won't be back until morning. Elon parked the car, but didn't turn off the engine. Marcus, I want to be there when you tell your mother about tonight. Would it be okay if I came back tomorrow afternoon? You want to visit our apartment? I want to see Lynn again. It's been 20 years since we talked. Marcus felt nervous suddenly. What if she's angry that I broke into your lab? She'll probably be upset at first, but once she understands what this means for your future, I think she'll be proud of your courage. Elon reached into his jacket and pulled out a business card. But this wasn't a regular business card. He wrote something on the back with a pen. This is my personal phone number, Elon said, handing Marcus the card. If you ever need anything, or if you have questions about your inventions, call me directly. Marcus stared at the card like it was made of gold. Really? Really? But Marcus, promise me something. No more breaking into buildings, okay? If you want to reach someone, ask an adult to help you find a legal way. I promise, Marcus said. And Mr. Musk? Thank you for not calling the police. Thank you for reminding me why I fell in love with engineering in the first place, Elon replied. Your passion for building things is exactly what this world needs more of. Marcus got out of the Roadster and watched as his hero drove away into the night. He stood in the parking lot for a long time, holding the business card and trying to process everything that had happened a few hours ago. He was just a poor kid from East Austin with impossible dreams. Now he had met his hero, impressed him with his inventions, and learned that his mother had a secret connection to the most famous entrepreneur in the world. Marcus climbed back through his bedroom window and changed into clean clothes. He hid his muddy outfit in the back of his closet and put Buddy back on his desk. As he lay in bed, Marcus thought about how he would tell his mom everything. Would she be angry? Proud? Shocked to learn that her old friend had become one of the most famous people on Earth? Marcus fell asleep clutching Elon's business card, dreaming about a future that suddenly seemed within reach. The next morning, Marcus woke up wondering if the whole thing had been an incredible dream. But then he saw the business card on his nightstand and the dried mud still caked under his fingernails that it had really happened at 8 a.m. His mom came home from her night shift looking exhausted. She made breakfast while Marcus sat at their small kitchen table, trying to find the courage to tell her about his adventure. You're quiet this morning, Lynn said, pouring orange juice. Everything okay? Mom, Marcus said slowly, I need to tell you something. Something really important. What? Is it, baby? Last night, I snuck out and broke into the Tesla Gigafactory. Lynn dropped the juice carton. Orange juice splashed across the kitchen floor, but neither of them moved to clean it up. Marcus, please tell me you're joking. I'm not joking, Mom. And there's something else. Something about Elon Musk that you never told me. Lynn's face went completely white. She sat down heavily at the table. What do you mean? Marcus pulled out Elon's business card and placed it on the table between them. He remembers you, Mom. He remembers everything. Lynn stared at the card with Elon's personal phone number written on it. Tears started forming in her eyes. Oh, Marcus, she whispered. What have you done? Before Marcus could answer, there was a knock at their front door. Marcus looked at his mom, then at the door. I think that might be him. Lynn Chen's hands trembled as she stared at the business card on their kitchen table. The knock at the door came again, more gentle this time. Mom, should I answer it? Marcus asked quietly. Lynn stood up slowly, her legs unsteady. She walked to the window and peeked through the curtain. In their small parking lot sat a black Tesla Model S, and standing at their door was a tall man in jeans and a gray t-shirt. It's really him, she whispered, her voice barely audible. Marcus had never seen his mother look so scared and excited at the same time. Lynn smoothed down her hair and checked her reflection in the microwave door. Do I look okay? She asked Marcus. I just got off work. I'm still wearing my diner uniform. You look fine, Mom, but we should probably answer the door. Lynn took a deep breath and walked to the front door. Her hand hesitated on the doorknob for a moment before she opened it. Elon Musk stood on their doorstep, holding a small bouquet of flowers and looking nervous. For several seconds, neither of them spoke. They just stared at each other across 20 years of separation. Hello, Lynn, Elon said softly. Hello, Elon, Lynn replied, her eyes filling with tears. May I come in? Lynn nodded and stepped aside. Elon walked into their small apartment, looking around at the modest furniture and Marcus's drawings taped to the walls. These are for you, Elon said, offering Lynn the flowers. I remember you always liked sunflowers. Lynn's eyes widened in surprise. You remember that? I remember everything about our friendship. Marcus watched his mother take the flowers with shaking hands. He had never seen her cry happy tears before. Please, sit down, Lynn said, gesturing to their small couch. Marcus, can you get Mr. Musk some water? Just Elon is fine, he said, sitting down carefully on the worn cushions. Marcus brought a glass of water and sat in the chair across from them. The three of them formed a triangle in the tiny living room, and the air felt thick with unspoken history. Lynn, Elon began, I owe you an apology. I should have tried harder to stay in touch when I left Stanford. You were building your future, Lynn said quietly. I understood why you had to focus on your companies, but I never forgot about you. Every success I've had, part of it belongs to you. You helped me believe in impossible things. Lynn wiped her eyes with a tissue. I followed your career from far away. When PayPal sold, when SpaceX launched its first rocket, when Tesla went public, I was always proud of you. Why didn't you ever try to contact me? Elon asked gently. Lynn looked down at her hands. Because I was embarrassed. You became this famous billionaire changing the world, and I was a single mother working 3 jobs. What would I have said? Hi, Elon, remember me? I'm cleaning office buildings now. Lynn, you're raising a brilliant son who built a walking robot from garbage. You have nothing to be embarrassed about. Marcus watched this conversation like he was watching a movie about his own life. His mother had known Elon Musk when they were both young dreamers. Now they were sitting in his living room, reconnecting after decades apart. Marcus told me about your situation, Elon said. 3 jobs, struggling to pay rent. Lynn, that's going to change starting today. Elon, you don't need to. Yes, I do. I'm offering you a position as senior battery engineer at Tesla. Full salary, benefits, stock options, and your own research lab. Lynn's mouth fell open. That's impossible. I never finished my degree. I haven't worked as an engineer in 15 years. Your mind is still brilliant, Elon said firmly. I saw that last night when Marcus showed me his inventions. He learned everything from you. You've been engineering solutions to daily problems for years. But I'm not qualified. Lynn, you helped me pass quantum physics. You understood battery chemistry before most people knew electric cars were possible. You're more qualified than half the people I've hired in the last 5 years. Marcus could see his mother struggling to believe what she was hearing. What about Marcus's school? His friends? The job is here in Austin. Marcus can keep going to his same school while also participating in Tesla's Youth Innovation Program. Elon turned to Marcus. And you, young inventor, are getting a full scholarship to MIT's summer program for gifted students. When you're ready for college, full tuition paid. Marcus felt like he might faint. MIT wants me. I called the dean this morning. She watched the security footage of you in my lab. She said you're exactly the kind of creative thinker they're looking for. Lynn stood up and walked to the window. Again, she stared out at the Tesla in their parking lot, then at the rundown apartment complex where they had lived for 4 years. This is too much, she said quietly. This is like winning the lottery. No, Elon said, standing up to join her at the window. This is what happens when brilliant people finally get the opportunities they deserve. Lynn turned around to face both Elon and Marcus. Tears were streaming down her face, but she was smiling. Marcus, she said, what you did last night was dangerous and illegal. You could have been hurt or arrested. Marcus's heart sank. I know, Mom. I'm sorry. But, Lynn continued, you also showed incredible courage. You risked everything to chase your dreams. And somehow, impossibly, it worked out. So you're not angry. I'm terrified and proud and amazed all at the same time, Lynn said, hugging her son tightly. You changed our whole life in one night. Elon pulled out his phone and showed them a video. Speaking of changing lives, I want to show you something. This is security footage from last night, showing Marcus in my lab. In the video, they could see Marcus carefully explaining his robot to Elon. Both of them bent over the small machine like real scientists collaborating on important research. I'd like to post this online, Elon said. With your permission, I want the world to see what young inventors can accomplish when they follow their dreams. Won't people be angry that Marcus broke in? Lynn asked worriedly. Some will be, but most will see what I see, a determined young mind who took a risk to pursue his passion. Marcus looked nervous. What if kids copy me and break into other buildings? That's exactly why we're starting the Young Inventors Initiative, Elon explained. So kids don't have to break into labs to get noticed. They can come to us through proper channels. Lynn sat back down and took Marcus's hand. Elon, I need to ask you something. Why are you really doing this? Is it just because of our old friendship? Elon sat down across from them and spoke very seriously. Lynn, 20 years ago, you believed in me when I was just a confused kid with wild ideas about electric cars and rockets. You tutored me in physics. You listened to my crazy plans. You made me believe I could actually change the world. I remember, when I started my first company, you were the first person I wanted to call and tell. When SpaceX landed its first rocket, I thought about how you said it would happen someday. Every breakthrough I've achieved has part of you in it. Lynn started crying again, but these were different tears. These were tears of recognition and healing. And Marcus, Elon continued, showed me something I had almost forgotten. The pure joy of invention. The excitement of building something from nothing. He reminded me why I fell in love with engineering in the first place. So this isn't charity, Lynn said, understanding. This is 3 friends helping each other, Elon said. You helped me become who I am. Now I can help you and Marcus become who you're meant to be. Marcus looked at his mother, then at Elon. Are we really going to do this? All of it. Lynn squeezed Marcus's hand tighter. All of it. Elon smiled and pulled out his phone. Then let's start changing the world, one young inventor at a time. But as Elon's finger hovered over the screen, ready to post the video that would make Marcus famous around the world, his phone rang with an urgent call. The caller ID showed a number Elon recognized immediately, NASA headquarters. I should take this, Elon said, his expression suddenly serious. This might be about Marcus. As the phone continued ringing, all 3 of them realized that their quiet morning was about to become something much bigger than they had imagined. Elon answered his phone with a cautious voice. Hello, this is Elon Musk. Mr. Musk, this is Dr. Jennifer Rodriguez from NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory in California. I'm calling about the video that's been circulating online. Marcus and Lynn exchanged confused looks. What video? I'm sorry, Elon said, but I haven't posted any video yet. What are you referring to? Sir, there's a video of a young boy in your laboratory that already has over 2 million views. It was posted about an hour ago by someone named TechLeaks 2024. Elon's face went pale. Someone leaked the security footage? It appears so. The boy in the video, Marcus Chun, according to the caption, shows remarkable engineering skills for his age. We'd like to speak with him. Lynn grabbed Marcus's arm, her eyes wide with panic. Their quiet life was about to change forever, whether they were ready or not. "Dr. Rodriguez, can I call you back in a few minutes? I need to assess the situation." "Of course. But Mr. Musk, you should know that this video is spreading very quickly. Major news networks are already calling us for comments." After Elon hung up, he immediately opened social media on his phone. His face grew more serious as he scrolled through the notifications. "Show us," Lynn said quietly. Elon turned his phone so they could all see the screen. The video showed Marcus in the lab, carefully explaining his robot to Elon. The title read, "11-year-old genius breaks into Elon Musk's lab. You won't believe what happens next." The view count was climbing rapidly. 2.1 million, 2.2 million, 2.3 million. "Oh my goodness," Lynn whispered, covering her mouth with her hands. Marcus stared at the screen in shock. "People are watching me." Elon scrolled through the comments. Most were positive. "This kid is incredible. Give him a scholarship right now. Future Nobel Prize winner. Best security breach ever." But there were negative comments too. "Where are his parents? This is illegal. Arrest him. Bad example for other kids." "Marcus," Elon said gently, "how do you feel about this?" Marcus's voice was small and scared. "I don't know. I just wanted to show you my robot. I didn't want the whole world to see." "Me." Lynn put her arm around her son. "We can handle this together. All of us." Elon's phone started ringing again. Then again, text messages poured in from reporters, colleagues, and friends who had seen the video. "This is happening whether we're ready or not," Elon said. "We have two choices. We can hide and let other people tell Marcus's story, or we can take control and tell it ourselves." "What do you mean?" Lynn asked. "I mean, we go outside together and meet the press. We explain exactly what happened and why. We show them that Marcus is a brilliant young inventor who deserves support, not criticism." "There are reporters outside," Marcus asked nervously. Elon looked out the window. 3 news vans had already arrived in the parking lot. Camera crews were setting up equipment, and reporters were checking their microphones. "They work fast," Elon said with a small smile. "But don't worry. I've dealt with media attention my whole career. I'll help you through this." Lynn walked to the window and saw the growing crowd of journalists. "I'm not ready for this. We're just regular people." "No, you're not," Elon said firmly. "You're a brilliant engineer who raised an exceptional son. Marcus is a young inventor who had the courage to chase his dreams. That's exactly what the world needs to see." Marcus looked at his mother's worried face. "Mom, what if they ask mean questions?" "Then we answer them honestly," Lynn said, finding her strength. "You made a mistake by breaking into the building, but you also did something amazing. We'll tell them both parts of the truth." A knock came at the door. Through the window, they could see a reporter with perfectly styled hair holding a microphone. "Mrs. Chen, I'm Sarah Williams from Channel 8 News. Could we speak with you and your son about last night's events?" More reporters gathered behind her, all hoping for the first interview with the family behind the viral video. Elon stood up and straightened his shirt. "Are you ready to change the world?" Marcus took a deep breath and looked at his robot Buddy sitting on the kitchen counter. Just 12 hours ago, Buddy was his secret project. Now millions of people had seen his creation. "What should I say to them?" Marcus asked. "Tell them the truth," Elon said. "Tell them why you built your inventions. Tell them why you took such a big risk. Help them understand that brilliant kids are everywhere. They just need opportunities." Lynn grabbed Marcus's hand. "Whatever happens out there, I'm proud of you. You followed your dreams even when it seemed impossible. And I'm proud of both of you," Elon added. "You're about to inspire millions of young inventors around the world." They walked to the door together. When Lynn opened it, camera flashes immediately started popping like fireworks. "Mrs. Chun, Marcus, how do you feel about the video going viral?" "Elon, are you hiring Marcus?" "Marcus, why did you break into the lab? Is it true that NASA wants to meet with you?" The questions came so fast that nobody could answer them. Elon raised his hand for quiet. "Ladies and gentlemen, we'll answer all your questions, but please, one at a time. This is a young boy who's had a very big night." A reporter from CNN stepped forward. "Marcus, can you tell us why you broke into Mr. Musk's laboratory?" Marcus's voice shook at first, but grew stronger. As he spoke, "I wanted to show Mr. Musk my inventions. I built a robot from old phone parts. And I wanted him to see that kids from families like mine can build amazing things too. Weren't you scared you'd get in trouble? I was terrified, Marcus admitted. But I was also excited. Sometimes you have to be brave to make your dreams come true. A reporter from the New York Times called out, "Mr. Musk, what was your reaction when you found Marcus in your lab?" "I was impressed," Elon said simply. His robot showed sophisticated engineering principles. The way he solved complex problems with limited resources was remarkable. "Are the reports true that you're offering his mother a job?" "Yes. Lin Chun is a brilliant engineer who deserves recognition for her talents. And Marcus will be participating in Tesla's new Young Inventors Initiative." Mrs. Chun, a local reporter asked, "How do you feel about your son's actions?" Lin thought carefully before answering. "I was scared when I learned what Marcus did. Breaking into buildings is dangerous and illegal, but I'm also amazed by his determination. He risked everything to follow his passion for invention." "Marcus," another reporter called, "what's your message to other young inventors watching this?" Marcus looked directly into the cameras. "Build things, dream big, work hard, and maybe find a safer way to reach your heroes than I did." Everyone laughed, including Elon. "What's next for you, Marcus?" Before Marcus could answer, Elon's phone rang again. He looked at the caller ID and his expression became very serious. "Excuse me," he said to the reporters. "I need to take this call." Elon stepped inside briefly and answered his phone. Marcus and Lin could hear him through the open door. "Yes, this is Elon Musk." "Yes, I've seen the video." "Really? The president wants to meet him? Tomorrow? I understand." "Yes, we'll be there." When Elon came back outside, his face showed a mixture of excitement and disbelief. "Ladies and gentlemen," he announced to the crowd of reporters, "I've just received a call from the White House. The President of the United States wants to meet Marcus Chin tomorrow to discuss promoting science education for young Americans." The reporters erupted with new questions, but Marcus couldn't hear them anymore. His ears were ringing, and the world seemed to spin around him. The president wanted to meet him. The President of the United States. Lin caught Marcus as his knees buckled. "It's okay, baby. We'll take this one step at a time." "But Mom," Marcus whispered, "yesterday I was just a kid who built robots from trash. Now the president wants to meet me." "Yesterday you were a brilliant inventor," Lin corrected gently. "Today the world finally knows it." As the news cruise continued, filming and more reporters arrived, Marcus realized that his quiet life in East Austin was over forever. But looking at his mother's proud face and Elon's encouraging smile, he felt ready for whatever came next. The boy who had dreamed of changing the world was about to get his chance. But first, he had to survive being famous. The next 24 hours passed like a whirlwind. Marcus's phone, which had never received more than 3 calls in one day, now rang constantly. Reporters wanted interviews. TV shows wanted him as a guest. Companies wanted to sponsor him. But the most amazing call came at breakfast the next morning. "Marcus," Lin said, hanging up the phone with shaking hands. "That was the White House again. They're sending a car to pick us up at noon." Marcus nearly choked on his cereal. "A real government car. A real government car," Elon confirmed, looking up from his laptop. He had spent the night at their apartment, helping field calls and plan Marcus's sudden entry into the spotlight. The video now had over 50 million views. Marcus had become the most famous 11-year-old in America overnight. "I'm scared," Marcus admitted quietly. "What if I say something stupid to the president?" "You won't," Lin said firmly. "Just be yourself. That's what got you this far." At exactly noon, a black limousine with government license plates pulled into their apartment. Complex parking lot. The driver wore a suit and sunglasses like in the movies. "I've never been in a limousine before," Marcus whispered as they climbed inside. "Neither have I," Lin whispered back. The drive to Austin Bergstrom International Airport took 20 minutes. During the ride, Marcus pressed his face against the tinted windows, watching his city pass by from inside the most luxurious car he had ever seen at the airport. They boarded a private jet that the White House had sent for them. Marcus had never been on any airplane before, let alone one with leather seats and a kitchen. "This is really happening," he said to Buddy, who was safely tucked in his backpack. The flight to Washington, D.C. took 3 hours. Marcus spent most of the time staring out the window at clouds and farmland below. Somewhere down there were millions of kids who, like him just 2 days ago, dreamed of building robots and rockets, but didn't know how to reach their heroes. When they landed, another black car waited to take them to the White House. As they drove through Washington, Marcus saw the Capitol building, the Washington Monument, and finally, the most famous house in America. The White House looks smaller than on TV, Marcus said, but much more impressive in person, Elon replied. They passed through several security checkpoints before entering the building. Secret Service agents checked their identification and escorted them through hallways lined with portraits of former presidents. The president is waiting in the Oval Office, their escort said. She's very excited to meet you, Marcus. President Sarah Martinez was the first woman president in American history, and she had made science education one of her top priorities. When Marcus, Lynn, and Elon entered the Oval Office, she stood up from behind the famous Resolute desk with a warm smile. Marcus Chun, she said, walking over to shake his hand. I've been watching your video all morning. You are remarkable. Thank you, Madam President, Marcus said, trying not to stare at the seal of the president on the carpet beneath his feet. Please, sit down, the president said, gesturing to the couches in the center of the room. I want to hear all about your inventions. For the next hour, Marcus showed the president his robot and explained his other projects. She asked intelligent questions about his engineering process and seemed genuinely impressed by his creativity. Marcus, the president said, finally, you represent something very important to our country. You prove that brilliant young minds exist everywhere, regardless of economic background. Yes, ma'am. That's why I want to make you an offer. How would you like to help me launch a new national program to support young inventors like yourself? Marcus looked at his mom, then at Elon. What kind of program? It's called the American Young Inventors Initiative, the president explained. We want to find brilliant kids in every state who are building amazing things with limited resources. Kids like you. What would I have to do? Visit schools, community centers, and maker spaces around the country. Share your story. Inspire other young people to pursue science and engineering. Help us identify the next generation of American innovators. Lynn leaned forward. Madam President, Marcus is still just 11 years old. He needs to continue his regular education. Of course, the president agreed. This would only be during school breaks and weekends. We want to support his education, not interfere with it. Elon spoke up. Madam President, this aligns perfectly with what we're planning at Tesla. Marcus could be a bridge between our private sector efforts and your government initiative. Exactly what I was thinking, the president said with a smile. Marcus felt overwhelmed by the magnitude of what they were discussing. Would other kids really want to meet me? Marcus, the president said gently, since your video went viral. Yesterday, we've received over 10,000 emails from young inventors around the country. They want to show you their projects. They want to know how you found the courage to follow your dreams. Really, you've become a symbol of what's possible when young people refuse to let obstacles stop them. The president walked to her desk and picked up a folder. These are just some of the letters we've received. May I read you one? She opened the folder and pulled out a handwritten letter. This is from Emma Rodriguez, age 12, from rural Montana. She writes, Dear Marcus, I saw your video and it made me cry happy tears. I built a water purification system for my school from parts one found at the dump. Nobody believed a girl from a poor family could build something important. But when I saw you with Elon Musk, I realized that maybe I can reach my heroes too. Thank you for showing me that dreams can come true. Marcus felt tears forming in his eyes. She built a water purifier too? She did. And there are hundreds of letters just like this one. Kids who have been building amazing things in garages and basements, thinking nobody would ever notice or care. Lynn wiped her eyes. Marcus, you could help those children get the recognition they deserve. But what if I mess up? What if I'm not smart enough to represent all these kids? Marcus, Elon said, you're not just smart enough. You're perfect for this because you remember what it feels like to be overlooked. You understand their struggles because you live them. The president sat back down across from Marcus. There's one more thing I want to tell you. Because of your story, Congress has agreed to fund new makerspaces in schools across America. We're calling them Chun Labs in your honor. Marcus's mouth fell open. Labs named after me? Labs where kids like you can build robots from recycled parts, design solar panels, and dream about changing the world. Your courage has already started changing the lives of young inventors you've never even met. Marcus looked around the Oval Office, at the President of the United States, at Elon Musk, at his mother who had worked 3 jobs to support his dreams. Just 3 days ago, he was a poor kid from East Austin who built robots in his bedroom. Now he was being asked to help lead a national movement. Madam President, Marcus said finally, I accept your offer. But I have one condition. What's that? I want my mom to be officially involved too. She's the one who taught me everything I know about engineering. If we're going to inspire young inventors, we need to show them that their parents and teachers matter too. The president smiled widely. Marcus Chun, you just proved exactly why you're the right person for this job. Consider it done. As they prepared to leave the White House, Marcus realized that his life had changed in ways he never could have imagined. He was no longer just a kid with big dreams. He had become a voice for every young inventor who had ever felt ignored or overlooked. But the biggest surprise was still waiting for him back in Austin. A surprise that would reveal the final secret of this incredible story and show the world why sometimes the most important adventures begin with a single act of courage. The boy who had broken into a lab to meet his hero was about to discover that he had become a hero himself. When Marcus, Lynn, and Elon returned to Austin that evening, they found something incredible waiting for them. Their entire apartment complex was decorated with handmade signs and banners. Welcome home, Marcus, our neighborhood hero. From East Austin to the White House. Mrs. Rodriguez from school was there with dozens of Marcus's classmates. Neighbors Marcus had never even spoken to before were holding flowers and homemade cards. Even Zoe was there, grinning and holding a sign that read, I knew Marcus was special. What is all this? Marcus asked, stepping out of the government car that had brought them from the airport. This is your community celebrating you, said Mrs. Garcia from apartment 3B. You made all of us proud, Mijo. As Marcus walked through the crowd, people reached out to shake his hand and take pictures with him. Little kids who had watched his video asked to see Buddy the robot. Their parents thanked Marcus for inspiring their children to build things. Marcus, called a familiar voice. It was Tony, the owner of the diner where his mom worked. Your mom is the hardest worker I know. I'm so happy good things are finally happening for your family. Thank you, Mr. Tony, Marcus said, feeling overwhelmed by all the love surrounding him. But the biggest surprise was yet to come as they reached their apartment. Marcus noticed something different. There were workers installing a large satellite dish on their building and thick cables running to their unit. What's happening? Lynn asked. A woman in a business suit approached them. Mrs. Chun, I'm Jennifer Walsh from the Science Channel. We'd like to ask you about something very special. What kind of special? Marcus asked. Marcus, your story has inspired people around the world. We've received calls from young inventors in over 40 countries who want to share their projects with you. She pulled out a tablet and showed them messages from kids everywhere. From Lagos, Nigeria, I built a solar cooker from cardboard and aluminum foil. From Mumbai, India, I created a water filter that helps my whole village. From Sao Paulo, Brazil, I made a robot that helps my grandmother walk. These kids want to meet you virtually, Jennifer explained. We'd like to broadcast a special show where young inventors from around the world can show their creations to you and Elon, live on television. Marcus looked at the messages on the tablet. Each one was from a kid just like him, someone who had built amazing things with very little money but lots of creativity. When would this happen? Lynn asked. Tomorrow night. We've already contacted the families of 50 young inventors in 25 countries. It would be the largest gathering of young inventors in history. Elon stepped forward. This is exactly what we hope would happen. Marcus's story opening doors for kids everywhere. But I don't know anything about being on TV, Marcus said nervously. You don't need to, Jennifer said kindly. Just be yourself. Ask the other kids about their inventions. Share what you've learned. Help them feel proud of what they've built. That night, as workers set up cameras and lighting equipment in their small apartment, Marcus sat with his mom and Elon, thinking about how much had changed. Mom, Marcus said, 3 days ago, we were worried about paying rent. Now TV crews are in our living room. I know, baby. It feels like we're living in someone else's life. But it's still our life, Elon said. You're still the same brilliant kid who builds robots from phone parts. The only difference is that now the world gets to see what I saw in my lab. The Next evening, millions of people around the world tuned in to watch Young Inventors Unite, a global celebration. Marcus sat in his living room, which had been transformed into a television studio, with Elon beside him and his mom operating. Buddy the robot. "Good evening, everyone," Marcus said to the camera, reading from notes he had written that afternoon. "My name is Marcus Chun, and I'm 11 years old. 3 days ago, I did something really crazy and broke into Elon Musk's laboratory." The show's host, Dr. Sarah Kim, smiled. "And tonight, Marcus, you're going to meet other young inventors who've done equally amazing things, legally." The first video call came from Aisha in Kenya, who had built a device that turned plastic waste into fuel for cooking stoves. She was 12 years old and spoke perfect English. "Marcus," Aisha said, "your video made me realize that my invention might be important. I thought it was just something I made to help my family, but maybe it could help other families too." "It's incredible," Marcus replied. "How did you learn to convert plastic to fuel?" "YouTube videos and lots of failed experiments," Aisha laughed. "Just like you with your robot." Next was Chun Wei from Beijing, China, who had created an app that helped elderly people remember to take their medicine. He was only 10 years old. "Marcus, I saw that your mom is Chinese like my family. My grandmother inspired me to build this app because she sometimes forgets her pills. That's exactly why I want to build robots that help old people," Marcus said excitedly. "Maybe we could work together someday." The calls continued for 2 hours. Kids from every continent showed their inventions. Solar-powered water pumps from Morocco, earthquake-detecting devices from Japan, air pollution monitors from Mexico, prosthetic hands made with 3D printers from Germany. Each young inventor had the same story. They saw problems in their community and built solutions with whatever materials they could find. "This is amazing," Elon said during one of the breaks. "These kids are solving real problems that affect millions of people." But the most touching moment came near the end of the show, when they connected with Maria Santos from a small village in the Philippines. "Marcus," Maria said, tears in her eyes, "I built a device that cleans drinking water using sunlight and sand. But nobody in my village thought it was important because I'm just a girl." "Maria," Marcus said firmly, "you're not just anything. You're an inventor who could save lives. Don't let anyone tell you your ideas don't matter." "After seeing your video, I showed my device to my school principal. Now the government wants to test it in other villages." As the show ended, Dr. Kim turned to Marcus. "Marcus, you've just connected with 50 young inventors from around the world. What would you like to say to them?" Marcus looked into the camera, thinking about all the kids who had shared their stories that night. "Build things. Dream big. Don't let anyone tell you that you're too young or too poor or that your ideas don't matter. The world needs what you're building. And remember," Elon added, "you don't have to break into anyone's lab to change the world. Just keep inventing, and the world will come to you." After the cameras stopped rolling and the crew packed up their equipment, Marcus sat with his mom and Elon in their quiet apartment. "We did something good tonight," Lynn said softly. "We started something," Elon corrected. "Those 50 kids are going to inspire 50 more kids, who will inspire 50 more. Marcus's courage is going to ripple around the world." Marcus looked at Buddy sitting on the kitchen counter, the same robot that had started this whole adventure. "Buddy," he said, "I think we're going to be very busy." The robot's LED eyes blinked twice, which Marcus had programmed to mean yes. Tomorrow, Marcus would start his new life as the world's youngest spokesperson for innovation. But tonight, he was still just an 11-year-old boy from East Austin who had dared to dream big. The boy who had broken into a lab had become a bridge connecting young inventors across the globe. 2 weeks after the global broadcast, Marcus's life had settled into a new rhythm. He still went to his regular school in the mornings, but now he also had video calls with young inventors around the world in the afternoons. Elon had set up a special lab at Tesla where Marcus could work on new projects every weekend. Lynn had started her job as senior battery engineer at Tesla, and Marcus had never seen his mother happier. She came home each day excited to tell him about the advanced technology she was helping to develop. "Today I worked on a battery that could power a car for 1,000 miles, she said over dinner one evening. "Tomorrow we're testing solar panels that are twice as efficient as anything that exists today." "That's amazing, Mom," Marcus said, though his mind was on other things. He had been thinking about something Elon had mentioned, The final surprise that was waiting for him, if reading his thoughts, Elon's phone rang. He had been eating dinner with them every night, helping Marcus manage his new responsibilities as a global spokesperson for young inventors. "Hello, this is Elon," he answered. Marcus watched Elon's expression change as he listened to the caller. His eyes widened, and he stood up from the table. "Are you absolutely certain?" Elon asked. "When?" "Yes, I understand." "No, we'll be ready." "When?" Elon hung up. He looked at Marcus and Lynn with an expression of amazement and something else, sadness mixed with joy. "What was that about?" Lynn asked. Elon sat back down slowly. "That was my private investigator. I hired him 2 weeks ago to find someone very important." "Who?" Marcus asked. "Marcus, what's your father's full name?" Marcus felt confused by the sudden change of topic. "David Chun." "But I don't understand why dash. David Chun, who left when you were 7 years old. Do you remember anything else about him?" "Not much. He used to help me build things with blocks." He had a nice laugh. "Mom doesn't talk about him very much." Elon looked at Lynn gently. "Lynn, I think it's time to tell Marcus the whole truth about his father." Lynn's face went pale. "Elon, no." "We agreed agreed to what?" Marcus asked, feeling scared. "What truth?" Lynn stood up and walked to the window, just like she had the day Elon first came to their apartment. For a long moment, she didn't speak. "Mom, what aren't you telling me about Dad?" Finally, Lynn turned around with tears in her eyes. "Marcus, your father didn't just leave us. He was deployed overseas with the military when you were 7. He's been serving our country in places where communication is very difficult." Marcus felt like the room was spinning. "Dad's alive? He's in the military?" "He's a communications engineer for the Army," Lynn said quietly. "He specializes in setting up internet and phone systems in remote areas where soldiers are stationed." "But why didn't you tell me? Why did you say he left?" Lynn sat back down and took Marcus's hands. "Because I didn't want you to spend your childhood worrying about whether your father was safe. Military deployments in dangerous areas can last for years. I thought it would be easier for you to think he had chosen to leave than to worry every day that something might happen to him." "Does he know about me? About what I've been doing?" Elon cleared his throat. "Marcus, that's what the phone call was about. Your father has been trying to contact you for 2 weeks. He saw the viral video of you in my lab while he was stationed in Afghanistan." "Afghanistan?" "He's been there for 3 years, helping to build communication networks for remote military bases. But Marcus, he's coming home." Marcus felt like he couldn't breathe. "When?" "Tomorrow," Elon said with a smile. "His commanding officer saw the news coverage about you meeting the president. The military is giving him special leave to come home and meet his famous son." Marcus looked at his mother, then at Elon, then back at his mother. "You mean my dad is going to be here tomorrow?" "He lands in Austin at 2 p.m., Lynn said, wiping away tears. "I spoke with him this morning. Marcus, he's so proud of you. He's been following every news story, every interview, every video call with other young inventors." "But why didn't he contact me before?" "Because," Lynn explained, "his job requires him to maintain communication silence for security reasons. Soldiers in his position can't make personal calls or send emails that might reveal their location. But when your story went global, the military made an exception." Elon pulled out his phone and showed Marcus a message. He sent this through official military channels. The message read, "To my brilliant son Marcus, I have watched you grow from a curious little boy into a young inventor who is changing the world. Every day in Afghanistan, I have been proud to tell my fellow soldiers that the famous Marcus Chun is my son. I cannot wait to see your robot and hear about all your inventions. Love, Dad." Marcus stared at the message, reading it over and over. His father had been watching him. His father was proud of him. His father was coming home. "What's he like now?" Marcus asked quietly. "He's the same man who used to help you build block towers," Lynn said. "Kind, funny, brilliant with technology. He just had to serve his country for a while." "Will he stay home now?" "His deployment is finished," Lynn confirmed. "He's being transferred to a technology development position here in Texas. He'll be home for good." Marcus felt overwhelmed by emotions he couldn't name. Joy, excitement, nervousness, and a little bit of anger that he had been lied to for so long. "Are you mad at us for not telling you the truth?" Elon asked gently. Marcus thought about it carefully. "I'm a little mad, but I understand why you did it. I think I would have worried about him every single day." "You would have," Lynn agreed. And I wanted you to focus on your inventions and your dreams, not on things you couldn't control. There's something else, Elon said. Your father has been working on some very advanced communication technology for the military. Guess what his specialty is? What? Robotics and artificial intelligence. Marcus, your father is an engineer, just like your mother. That's where your talent really comes from, both parents. Marcus felt like pieces of a puzzle were finally clicking together. His love of building things, his understanding of electronics, his ability to make complex systems work, it all made sense now. So when he sees Buddy, he's going to be amazed, Elon said. And he's going to have lots of ideas for how to make your robot even better. That night, Marcus couldn't sleep. He lay in bed thinking about meeting his father again after 4 years. Would they still get along? Would his dad be proud of what Marcus had built? Would they be able to pick up where they left off when Marcus was 7? The next morning, Marcus cleaned his room and organized all his inventions. He wanted everything to be perfect when his father arrived. At 1:30 p.m., Marcus, Lynn, and Elon drove to the airport. As they waited in the arrival area, Marcus clutched Buddy in his arms. "He's going to love meeting you," Marcus told his robot. At exactly 2:15 p.m., passengers from the military transport flight began walking through the gate. And then Marcus saw him, a tall man in army uniform with kind eyes and a familiar smile. "Dad," Marcus called out. The man turned, and his face broke into the biggest smile Marcus had ever seen. "Marcus," he called back, dropping his bags and running toward his son. As father and son embraced for the first time in 4 years, Marcus realized that his incredible adventure was complete. He had broken into a lab to meet his hero and ended up finding his father. The airport reunion lasted for 10 minutes, with David Chun holding his son like he might disappear again. Other passengers stopped to watch the emotional scene, some recognizing Marcus from the news coverage. But in that moment, Marcus didn't care about being famous. He only cared about being in his father's arms again. "Let me look at you," David said, holding Marcus at arm's length. "You've grown so much, and you're taller than I expected from all the videos I've watched." "Dad, I can't believe you're really here," Marcus said, wiping tears from his eyes. "I have so much to show you. I can't wait to see everything. But first, let me meet the woman who raised the most famous young inventor in the world." David turned to Lynn, and for a moment, they just stared at each other. For years of separation, worry, and single parenthood stood between them. "Hello, Lynn," David said softly. "Hello, David," Lynn replied, her voice shaking. "Welcome home." They embraced carefully, like two people learning to be a family again. "And you must be Elon Musk," David said, extending his hand to the man who had changed their lives forever. "I can't thank you enough for what you've done for my family." "Your son is remarkable," Elon said, shaking David's hand firmly. "And now, I understand where his talent comes from. Military communications engineering. That's exactly the kind of background that creates innovative thinking." As they drove home from the airport, Marcus sat between his parents in the back seat of Elon's Tesla. David marveled at the car's technology while Marcus explained everything that had happened in the past 3 weeks. "So you really crawled through a drainage pipe to break into the Gigafactory?" David asked, laughing. "It was scary but worth it," Marcus said. "Though Mom and Elon both told me never to do anything like that again." "Good advice," David said. "But I'm proud of your courage." Sometimes the biggest risks lead to the biggest rewards. When they reached their apartment, Marcus immediately brought out Buddy and all his other inventions. David examined each one with the expert eye of an engineer, asking detailed questions about circuits, programming, and design choices. "This robot is incredibly sophisticated," David said, watching Buddy walk across the kitchen table. "The motor control algorithms you developed are more advanced than some military systems I've worked with." "Really?" Marcus beamed with pride. "Really? And this solar panel design, where did you learn about photovoltaic efficiency?" "YouTube and lots of experimenting," Marcus admitted. David laughed. "YouTube University. I've learned plenty there myself during downtime in Afghanistan." Over the next few days, David slowly readjusted to civilian life while marveling at how much his family's world had changed. He accompanied Marcus to his first day at the new Tesla Youth Lab, where Marcus now spent his afternoons working on advanced projects with real engineers. "It's surreal," David told Lynn as they watched Marcus collaborate with PhD scientists on battery technology. 3 weeks ago, he was building robots from phone parts in his bedroom. Now he's contributing to actual research. He's still the same curious boy, Lynn said. He just has better tools now. And better opportunities. Lynn, what you did, raising him alone, supporting his dreams, working 3 jobs. I know how hard that must have been. I had help, Lynn said, squeezing David's hand. He inspired me every day. Watching him build amazing things kept my own engineering dreams alive. Speaking of dreams, David said with a mysterious smile, I have something to tell you both. That evening at dinner, David made an announcement that surprised everyone. The Army has offered me a position here in Austin, he said, leading a new research division that develops communication technology for space missions. Space missions? Marcus asked excitedly. NASA and the military are working together on communication systems for the Moon and Mars. They want me to head the civilian transition team. Elon nearly choked on his water. David, that's incredible. SpaceX could potentially use those same systems. Actually, David said with a grin, part of my job will be coordinating with private space companies, including SpaceX. Marcus looked around the table at his mother, his father, and his mentor. So we're all going to be working on space technology? It looks that way, Lynn said, smiling. This is like a dream, Marcus said. No, Elon corrected gently. This is what happens when you chase your dreams hard enough. They start chasing you back. 2 months later, Marcus stood on a stage at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida, addressing an audience of 2,000 young inventors from around the world. It was the first ever Global Young Inventors Summit, sponsored jointly by NASA, Tesla, and 15 other technology companies. 3 months ago, Marcus said into the microphone, I was just a kid from East Austin who built robots from garbage. I thought the only way to reach my heroes was to break into their labs. The audience laughed, but I learned something important. You don't have to break any rules to change the world. You just have to be brave enough to share your ideas. Behind Marcus on the giant screen, photos showed young inventors from every continent displaying their creations. Solar ovens from Kenya, water purifiers from Bangladesh, prosthetic hands from Colombia. Each invention was solving real problems for real people. These inventors prove that the best ideas come from people who understand problems firsthand. Marcus continued. You don't need expensive equipment or fancy schools. You need curiosity, creativity, and courage. In the audience, Lynn and David sat with Elon, watching their son inspire thousands of young minds. The boy who had once felt invisible was now one of the most recognized young people on Earth. Today, I want to announce something special, Marcus said. My parents and Elon Musk are launching the Global Young Inventors Fund. This fund will provide grants, equipment, and mentorship to young inventors everywhere, especially those from families like mine who don't have much money but have huge dreams. The audience erupted in applause. We're also creating maker spaces in 1,000 schools around the world where kids can build robots, design solar panels, and invent solutions to problems in their communities. Marcus looked directly into the camera that was broadcasting his speech to millions of viewers worldwide. To every young inventor watching this, whether you're in a mansion or an apartment, whether your parents are engineers or work 3 jobs, like my mom did, whether you have the newest tools or build things from trash like I do, your ideas matter. Your inventions matter. You matter. The standing ovation lasted for 5 minutes. After the summit, the Chin family and Elon sat on the beach near Cape Canaveral, watching rockets from SpaceX's nearby facility streak across the evening sky. Dad, Marcus said, do you think we'll really make it to Mars someday? With inventors like you leading the way? Absolutely, David replied. What's the next big challenge you want to tackle? Elon asked Marcus. Marcus thought for a moment, watching another rocket disappear into the stars. I want to build robots that can help astronauts on Mars. Robots that can fix equipment, grow food, and maybe even help people feel less lonely on other planets. That's a worthy goal, Elon said. And I think you're exactly the right person to make it happen. Lynn leaned against David's shoulder, still amazed by how much their lives had changed. 3 months ago, I was cleaning office buildings at night. Now I'm designing batteries that will power Mars missions. 3 months ago, I was setting up communication networks in Afghanistan, David added. Now I'm designing systems that will let astronauts call home from other planets. And 3 months ago, Marcus said, I was just dreaming about meeting Elon Musk. Now he's helping me change the world. Actually, Elon said with a smile, you're all helping me remember why I wanted to change the world in the first place. Sometimes the teacher becomes the student. As they sat together watching the stars appear one by one in the darkening sky, Marcus realized that his incredible adventure was both ending and beginning. He had started this journey as a lonely kid with impossible dreams. Now he was part of a family again, surrounded by people who believed in his visions for the future. The boy who had broken into a lab had found something more valuable than fame or money or even meeting his hero. He had found his place in the world, his purpose, and his family. But most importantly, he had learned that sometimes the most extraordinary things happen when ordinary people find the courage to chase their dreams. 6 months later, Marcus received a package with no return address. Inside was a small device he didn't recognize, along with a handwritten note. Marcus, I built this communication device that can send messages across vast distances using quantum entanglement. Maybe it could help astronauts on Mars stay connected to Earth. I was inspired by your story to share my invention instead of keeping it secret. Thank you for showing me that young inventors can change the world. Emma Rodriguez, age 13, Montana. Marcus smiled as he examined Emma's device. It was brilliant, innovative, and exactly the kind of breakthrough that could revolutionize space communication. He picked up his phone and called Elon. I think we found our next young inventor, Marcus said. And somewhere in rural Montana, a 13-year-old girl was about to discover that dreams really do come true when you're brave enough to share them with the world. The ripple effect that started with one boy's courage would continue spreading across the globe, inspiring countless young minds to build, invent, and dream bigger than they ever thought possible. Marcus Chin had broken into a lab and ended up breaking open the future for every young inventor who dared to believe that they could change the world. The adventure was just beginning. And that was the end of Marcus Chin's incredible journey from a curious boy in East Austin to a global inspiration for young inventors everywhere. His courage to follow his dreams didn't just change his own life. It reunited his family and sparked a worldwide movement that continues to inspire millions of young minds today. That we'd love to know where you're listening from. Drop a comment below and tell us your city or country. It's amazing to see how stories like Marcus's connect people from all corners of the world. If this story touched your heart or inspired you in any way, please give this video a thumbs up. And subscribe to our channel for more incredible true stories of courage, determination, and the power of following your dreams. And here's something Marcus himself would ask of you. Share this video with your friends and family. Spread the kindness and awareness that every young dreamer deserves support, no matter where they come from or how impossible their dreams might seem. You never know whose life you might change by sharing one story of hope. Thank you for listening. And remember, sometimes the most extraordinary adventures begin with a single act of courage.